In the last episode, we took out Tundra Man and Godsman. I mean, I'd say, what is your deal, Wily? But he wasn't designed by Dr. Wily. He was designed by the same folks who made Blockman. But regardless, we're actually going to be taking on the last two Robot Masters of this game. Last Man and Torchman. Oh, this is the Mississippi King welcoming y'all back, by the way, to Let's Play Mega Man 11. We're getting close to the end. I'm actually kind of surprised that it's taken this long, this many videos to take out all of the Robot Masters. It's probably just because I've been working to try and make these videos shorter. Of course, then again, this game also feels a bit slower than the other games. And unlike Mega Man 8, it doesn't feel like a drag this time. I mean, it does feel slower than the 8-bit games, but not in a bad way. It feels natural. Unlike Mega Man 8, where it was just sort of drawn out and kind of sluggish. But anyway, right here you can actually try and get these things to like fly back and destroy the blocks so you can get a weapon tank. That's one thing I should have mentioned in previous parts. Weapon tanks are back from Mega Man 9 and 10. But they work more like they did in Mega Man 7, where they refill all of your weapon energy instead of just one weapon. And actually, Mega Man 9 didn't include weapon tanks, so what am I talking about? Oh, and watch how quickly the Tundra Storm takes out this mini-boss. Boom. Boom. Dead. It's ridiculous! So let's actually fight this mini-boss legitimately this time. I went back to record footage for this because, you know, I want to actually show off the mini-bosses. This one's actually kinda cool because it requires some pretty good dodging skills. And this attack in particular, where they quickly shoot back and forth, that's very fun to dodge, I find. You can actually shoot the shimobes, the things that fall out of the thing, into the carts to damage them. So there. One of the features in this game that I kind of miss from Mega Man 8 is, like, previously, like in Mega Man 8, you had the thing where it showed you how many shots with your particular weapon you had. So, like, for instance, if you could shoot the Astro Crush 4 more times, then it would list it as 4. And they ain't got that in this game, which is disappointing, I must say. But it's not particularly surprising. The mini-boss is actually pretty fun, but now we're on the main path. Last Man's stage is one of my favorites, by the way. It requires some pretty good dodging. Oh, also, Proto Man and Bass are not playable in this game, and you know what I have to say to that?
I find your lack of
blues
disturbing.
Yeah, I have been playing this game a ton, and of course, I wanted to practice so that I can be as good as I am right now, because I sucked when I first tried this game. It's kind of how I am. I tend to require a decent bit of practice. If people are wondering about my skills, then, well, that's the secret. I just sort of practice a lot. Of course, I make no pretense to say that I'm superb. And at the end of Blast Man's stage, we're greeted with a very fun stair climb where you need to dodge the boxes and whatnot. It's very clever. and I enjoyed quite a bit. The acid barrier helps a lot here, by the way. There are also some gangsters in the back before here. And I also really like the music to Blast Man's stage. It's really good.
Blast Man is a pyrotechnician, or in his words, an explosion artist, who designs the explosive effects for movies and theme parks. He can provide any explosion the client needs, from cataclysmic blasts to shy little bangs. At the time of the Wily incident, he was working on a new explosion-themed attraction for the theme park Flowerland. In his spare time, he writes a column for his favorite magazine, Boom Monthly. There's not a month that goes by that his explosive opinions don't blow the pages to bits. Manufacturer BB Bomb Company.
And so, with that out of the way, one thing that I should have said, he of course can use power gear. He's one of the 4 that has power gear. And the last one that we'll run into that has power gear is actually Torchman. Nintendo Caprice nicknamed the power gear form Super Saiyan mode, and for Blastman he even has Super Saiyan hair, and he's going Super Saiyan now. Super Saiyan mode. Oh dear, this really has turned into Dragon Ball names. But Speed Gear, I like to nickname that as Supersonic mode. Some people may not like the Chain Blast. I actually do like it. Basically, you can shoot it, and it releases a small sticky bomb that moves fairly slowly. But the trick with it is that although the one is weak, you can actually chain it together and create a bigger explosion. The trick with it is that you can actually detonate it while it's in mid-air by pressing down and the attack button. You can do that with either the Super Bomb, like with the Power Gear version, it just releases a humongous bomb that just decimates everything in sight. But usually a lot of enemies go down in 2 or 3 sticky bombs. So that's the thing, don't underestimate it. And it's very fun to use, I find. I think it's understandable why people may not care for it, but I do. The last robot master we're facing off against would be Torchman. And he has an interesting fighting style, which he calls the Torch Jutsu, which is funny, but we'll take him down. I mean, since he has a martial arts fighting style, I guess that means we'll have to make him cry like an anime fan on prom night. Just like the people who thought that ad was a good idea for Mighty Number 9. I still think that's a very stupid ad. Like, seriously, they thought that would convince people to buy the game? Because, you know, it's not like anime fans are the ones buying the game, or anything like that. So, congratulations! You managed to make one of the stupidest ads in all of gaming history. And that is why you do not want to get reckless, and why you want to make as much progress in this section as possible. That fire is insta-kill, as y'all can see. One thing you can do is use the Tundra Storm to freeze the fire. I'm not gonna do that, however, because I think it's... where's the fun in that? And I'm being serious in that. I do actually find it to be much more enjoyable with the flames that you have to overrun. But right here, the owl robots, those actually provide lighting in a couple screens. But I do enjoy this stage, it's very fun and fast-paced. Although, I mean, I guess if I wanted to nitpick this game, I guess I really don't like the two screens that have the lighting with them and whatnot. And that's due to my deep-seated hatred of darkness gimmicks in games. But besides that, I can't really think of much. I am failing miserably at this mini-boss. Usually I can defeat it before it spawns these small things, but look at that. Look at how quickly the Tundra Storm killed it. But anyway, now let's actually fight this boss legitimately, this mini-boss. And I do like the background here. Like, it's the kind of place where I would probably sleep there. That sounds like something Tim would say. His Nintendo Capri Sun goes on and on about the places where he would sleep. But yeah, this sparky thing can become reignited. It's a pretty easy boss. You can just like stand close to it and use the speed gear, and you can take it down in a ridiculously short amount of time. It's absurd. But anyway, now that we're done with that, we're back on the main path. One thing you can do with them ovens is use the pile driver to knock them back. And also, one thing that I should have explained, the slide is now actually mapped to its own button. Well, I mean, you have the option of mapping it to its own button. And that is very convenient. I mean, at first I didn't really use it that much, but now it's pretty much the only way I slide. In fact, a lot of the features that Mega Man 11 has introduced are things that are gonna make it hard going back to previous games. It's really convenient having the weapon wheel, which is the best quick select in the series. And that includes the X series. It just feels so natural and so intuitive and easy to use. It's gonna make it going back to the older games, especially the 8-bit ones, kinda difficult. Of course, there are some other awesome upgrades. One that I haven't explained is the mystery chip, and basically that just provides a bonus of screws if you beat stages quickly. That's all to it. But there are others, like you can increase the maximum E-tanks and the weapon tanks that you can carry from 6 to 9, as it is in most other games. I have no idea why they artificially limit that, but whatever, I don't even really need 6. In fact, I'm probably gonna beat this game without using any energy tanks. The reason I'm playing on normal, by the way, is just because I find it to be more interesting to watch. I can probably handle it on superhero mode, but that's not as interesting to watch. Speaking of not interesting to watch, people often complain about the checkpoint system in this game being too stingy and too much of a Scrooge with that, but I disagree. It's fairly reasonable on normal mode. And the fight with Torchman is really fun, by the way. Gotta love that pile driver. It is great for taking out these sloppy joes and the mechs, or whatever they're called. Seriously, what are they called?
Torchman was designed as a camping advisor, teaching people about campfire safety. In his spare time, he ventures out into the wild to work on his very own martial art, Torch Jutsu. He started Torch Jutsu in order to train himself to keep his flames under control, since the slightest lapse in judgment can cause a dangerous flare-up. With his training incomplete, he still tends to flare up in moments of strong emotion. He gets particularly excited when it's time for the turkey roast, resulting in many a scorched bird. He once tried training by standing under a raging waterfall. The subsequent repairs took 3 months. Manufacturer, Tsubakuro Precision Machining.
So, Torchman actually has this very fun martial arts style of fighting. It's somewhat reminiscent of Magma Dragoon from Mega Man X4. However, it doesn't really remind me of as much of him as it does some people. I don't know why. But one thing that I forgot to mention about the Avocado Joes, or whatever they're called, in the mechs, is that you can actually destroy the mechs by destroying the Sandwich Joes inside. And by doing that, you can actually get to destroy them very quickly. So by destroying them, you destroy the mech itself too. Otherwise, you'd have to destroy the mech and then deal with the Tree Hugger Joes, or whatever they're called. But with the Torchman down, we get the last weapon, but certainly not the least, the Blazing Torch. This one has a very strange arc, but it has a humongous hitbox that comes charging down after it goes up, and you can keep firing it, and with the power gear it just releases a barrage of 3 shots at once, and its hitbox is even bigger. It's really powerful too. It's as powerful as it looks, in fact. But now that we've taken out Torchman, that's the last Robot Master. So now it's time to find out where Dr. Wily may be. Of course, it doesn't really matter, since this is just a cutscene that explains how we're going to get to Wily Castle, which in this game, the Wily Castle is known as the Gear Fortress. And it's very interesting. I'll talk more about it in the next video, but suffice it to say, the first 2 stages are very enjoyable. It's a little short, unfortunately, but again, I'll cover that more in depth in the next video. So, now that we know what to do, we can actually head there. But what I'm going to do before I head into the castle is try and check the shop to see if there are any new upgrades for me, because I don't want to miss anything. I want to be as thorough as possible. Fun fact about this game: apparently Koji Oda, the director of it, actually ordered every member of the team involved in it to play through every classic and X series game of the entire Mega Man series. It was so that they could take notes and determine what made each and every game unique in their own right. And if that's not dedication, I don't know what is. Finally! It's about time you got the thing. We now have the speed gear booster, which I'm surprised it's taken this long for me to unlock it. Basically, for that, it allows you to move at normal speed with the speed gear active, and with the cooling system, well, it just improves the cooling speed of the double gear system, so it will cool off faster when they're deactivated. It's pretty good in its own right, too. The only upgrades that I don't generally tend to get is the power shield, but that will be it for this video. This is the Mississippi King signing out, and in the next episode, we'll take on Dr. Wily. So see y'all next time for the finale of Let's Play Mega Man 11.